As part of a national campaign, people in Boston will try to relieve some of the water crisis in Flint, Michigan. The tap water in the predominantly black city is contaminated, so people in Boston plan to help. To explain what's planned is our guest, the director of the Black Community Information Center, Sadiqi Kamban. Thank you very much for being with us, Sadiqi.
Glad to be here, Chris.
For people who have not been following this very closely, how bad is this water in Flint?
It's terrible. It's a terrible situation. Essentially what it is that, a couple of years ago, they made a decision as a quote-unquote cost-saving measure to switch the water source from the Detroit River to the Flint River, which is contaminated with high levels of lead, to the extent that when you say how serious is it, well, General Motors stopped using the water from the Flint River because of the fact that the water there was corroding the parts they were using to make vehicles. So you can imagine what it would do to a human being. So we're talking about something here that clearly shows some criminal intent, at least from my perspective and a lot of other people, from the governor on down, because they had full knowledge of what the circumstances were. But they evidently made the decision that the residents of Flint, and like you said, it's a predominantly black city, could be sacrificial lambs, and they didn't care. It was all about the dollar.
I've heard about all kinds of factors here. It's political austerity, it's Democrats, it's Republicans, and I've also heard it's race.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing is, Chris, is that basically, at least from the perspective, my perspective, what I'm hearing from a lot of folks is that it's not even about the politics. It's first and foremost about the fact that this is a city that's about 60% black, and that apparently the decision was made that they're expendable in the name of the dollar. And so we really have questions as to whether or not if this had been a predominantly white community, if that had been done. So the governor has a lot to answer. There are calls for criminal charges to be placed against his administration and the administrator, because it was under receivership. And so it's really a serious dilemma.
There has been some response recently from Washington under President Obama, but I guess that's not the whole solution.
No, it's not. And the response from the Obama administration has been minimal. The amount of money that is needed has not been allocated based on, they declared it, the level of disaster that they declared only, I think, releases $28 million. But we're talking about a polluted river, contaminated, and that they're saying that based on the poor condition of the pipe system, that it probably take about $1.9 billion to really get that situation straight. So the residents there are in a dangerous situation. I think I explained to you prior to the broadcast is that I saw a clip where a young lady had her baby in the sink and was bathing the baby with a bottle of spring water.
And of course, even if you don't have a rash in your skin or something, the exposure to lead is something you might not catch right away, but that's going to have long-term consequences for a lot of kids.
Oh, absolutely. They're talking about, as you said, the consequences down the line. They say the severity can go from possibly becoming paralyzed to having brain damage. It's really scary when you talk about it and you think about the fact that you have a whole population that has been drinking this water for an extended period of time. So what does it mean, as you said, in the long run, in terms of what their physical condition is going to be?
Well, until those pipes are safe and there's a better source, I guess you need bottled water, but why ship it from Boston?
Well, that's a very good question because of the fact that some folks had asked me, they said, well, why don't we just raise some money and send it to a water company down there that can deliver it? And we said, well, there were two things. That, we had an experience with Katrina where in some respects, we weren't sure that the product that we sent got to where we wanted to go. This way, number one, there's human involvement and getting people involved and showing that they're concerned and care about what's happened to the people of Flint. The other piece too is that, we're mobilizing here in Boston. There's been a lot of cooperation. Like I told you, Mamleo is allowing us to use their building to store the water. There are different groups who have been assisting us logistically. We've been in communication with the the mayor's office, city of Flint, and we have an organization down there that's involved in distribution who's agreed to take any shipment that we can arrange. So we've actually made a national call. We've called it the Project Water for Flint. And we put it out there nationally, calling on folks all across the country to step up. So we're hoping that we'll get that type of support here in Boston. Right now it's been really decent. But tomorrow, Saturday, the 30th of January at 1 o'clock is going to be the actual launch. And we're asking folks to, in fact, bring water to 61 Columbia Road, which is right near the intersection of Seaver Street in Dorchester, between 1 and 5 o'clock to bring cases of water. And then we're saying the following week they can come anywhere from 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock during the day, but we want to collect as much water as we can and water filters and load up a truck and send it on down there to Flint.
So the other thing I picture here are people bringing their cases or trucks rolling. This is dramatizing things too.
Yeah, I would say so, but I mean also too that there's a spirit that's
I
developing.
didn't mean that in the bad sense of the word.
No, I understand. I understand what you're saying. But I mean, there's a real spirit of. I mean, folks are feeling like they're coming together, and there's real passion about what's happening to folks down there. And I think that's needed because of the fact that a lot of times things are folks are like kind of blasé in regards to just seeing something in the news and they say, oh, it's just terrible. But we actually have folks who are stepping up. So we're continuing that call. We put the word out. We're saying to the churches. We met with the school leadership group about the issue you just had on the air, but at the same time, we spoke to them about this. It's called BSAC. We talked to them about this effort, so they're saying they're willing to work in their schools. The colleges, we want the colleges to step up. We want, nonprofits, businesses. We like for someone to donate a truck. So, we're open for business to make this happen.
So people who want to step up should go to Mamleo tomorrow around 1 o'clock in the afternoon?
1 o'clock, bring that water.
And is there another way they can get in touch?
Oh, absolutely. All the details from this whole process is on the website of the Black Community Information Center. And they can go to www.blackinfonow, that's blackinfonow.org, and everything's there in terms of logistically how they can support us, or they can call 617-427-2522.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Appreciate the time.
From the Black Community Information Center, Siddiqui Kambon.